Hi everyone, welcome back to some more 3D printing. I'm Agustin Flowalistic, and if you like the Legend of Zelda video games and plants, you are going to love this. After this big spoiler, let's start from the beginning. So first of all, I want to thank Innofill for providing me some great filaments. I got some awesome PLA from them in different colors because there will be more planters. This planter is part of a big collection, and you know I love collections, I always make collections, but I won't tell you anything. Also, thanks to Shop3D for making this possible. I've left some links in the description below. I invite you to check Innofil's and Shop3D's webpage, they are really cool. As you have noticed, I'm a big geek. Last year I started filling my apartment with plants, I couldn't stop, and as spring is around the corner, I guessed it was the perfect moment of the year to do something related to plants. My girlfriend is hating me right now. Of course, the first planter had to be about Zelda after the Nintendo Switch release and all the Zelda Breath of the Wild hype. I don't have the Nintendo Switch, but I've been playing Zelda since I was a kid, and this was a great mix of adult flowalistic versus young flowalistic. As always, I'm now going to show you all the design process, printing and results of the design. In Fusion 360, the first thing we are going to do is create a 14 cm cube. We are going to add some fillets as we are going to make this planter collection this way. We are going to create a shell, a 2 mm shell, to make the planter, and we are going to apply some boolean operations to get the inside shape, as we are going to make a planter inside the planter afterwards. We are going to import the SVG files we worked on in Adobe Illustrator, and mainly we are going to start extruding and creating new bodies. This part of the design process is really important, even if you are going to make a single extrusion or dual extrusion print, because you need to make it visible but at the same time not so thick to make it impossible to print with an FDM 3D printer. We are going to add some chamfers, as that will really help when printing. If there weren't any chamfers, you would need to use some support material, and we want to avoid that. We need to be careful that the chamfer is 45 degrees, because that's the average inclination and it will work with almost any printer. Now that we've got one side, we've got different parts and we repeat them. We get these 4 different sides with the 4 different designs, but the process is exactly the same. Now we need to work on the details that are above and below the main designs, and again we need to extrude them negatively, intersect them, and create different bodies. The dual extrusion design process is much more complex than the single extrusion designs, but I prefer to show you that one, as we are going to combine all the different parts and create the single extrusion version. We need to create the small details. Maybe this isn't the best way to do it, but I just prefer to cut and then combine and join all the parts, as it's easier for me, although you will end up having tons of different bodies. As you can see now, we have all the parts that we need. We see some clear differences between the details, those that will be printed in yellow and the ones that will be printed in the other color. We need to be careful not to combine parts that we don't want to, as it's really difficult with all the parts I have. Maybe I have more than 50 different parts, but I need just to select them, group them, and be really careful. Once that we have the design, we are going to pull them, so we give them some extra thickness, especially for the single extrusion version. As with the dual extrusion version, it would be the same for all of them. We are going to apply some chamfers to all the different parts, as with the main designs, as we want to avoid using any support material or having any ugly parts. We repeat the same process with the bottom parts, although you can just copy and paste them. Once we have the design, we are going to apply some color, although it's not necessary, but it will give us some ideas of how it will look when we print it. This is the planter that we are going to print. Maybe we modify some parts, but it will all depend on the test print. Now let's move to the 3D printer and let's print this planter. Hey, why this isn't blue? Well, I didn't get any green filament from Innofill because this planter wasn't on my plans until the very last moment. I used their sky blue PLA and I did some magic, so I apologize for that, it's not cool. As you may have noticed, this planter corresponds to a dual extrusion version, but don't worry, there's also a single extrusion version. Both are available right now for download, and there's a link in the description. I've also made a version with and without holes, because this one doesn't have any, it's like a pencil holder, and also an inner planter with holes in case you want to insert this one here. It's an interior planter. If you have any questions about this design or anything, use the comment section below, Twitter or Instagram also. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to this channel, please, as there will be more planter designs coming really soon. Also, if you want to support my designs, videos and experiments, I invite you to check my Patreon page, there's a link in the description, and get access to exclusive content and updates. I would also like to thank all my supporters, especially the Patreon MVPs, which are listed in the description below. All my patrons already knew about this planter. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed with the video and see you next time. Bye.